These are the plaintiffs, Howard Feldman and Stephen Dinwiddie. Howard says they were hired by the defendant to do work on some tiny houses which were built for vets. They worked on a house which needed some upgrades. They weren't paid for their work, and they don't know what the slickster defendant's trying to pull, but they're owed money, and they want it now. They're suing for $1,525. The amount still due. This is the defendant, Sandy McGinley. She's the director of a nonprofit that provides housing for disabled vets. And the plaintiffs became irate with the method of payment for their services and the amount of time it takes for them to receive their pay. Howard's behavior became so bizarre, she felt it wasn't safe to continue their employment. He's got to screw loose, and the amount of time and money these guys cost her more than makes them even. She's accused of not paying for services rendered.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiffs were hired to do work on houses for vets and says that they got stiffed. But the defendant says they were just way impatient. It's the case of thank you for your service of process.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Okay, Howard Feldman?
Yes.
And Stephen Dinwiddie?
Yes.
You are suing the defendants who run a nonprofit to build homes for veterans for $1,525 that you say you were owed for labor that you did there.
Correct.
All right, what happened?
Well, on approximately the 30th of April, I was called by Mr. Meskin, who's the director of that company, and asked to begin work on the 7th of May. We went and began work. There was some.
No, you're skipping over the important stuff. What kind of work?
Oh, there was some renovations, alterations, and corrections to a partially built out tiny house that's being built in a container. And we were asked to make the corrections, additions, and modifications to it.
And what were the corrections, additions, and modifications exactly?
Removing a sliding glass door, removing the framing that the sliding glass door was in, reconstructing a wall to replace that sliding glass door, putting on siding, insulation, sheetrock,
Okay.
and doing a lot of rewiring so that all the elements of the tiny house were wired correctly.
Okay, so tell me about the tiny house and tell me about the work you guys do.
We are a veterans nonprofit. We help disabled, low-income veterans get a permanent home. This is our newest venture. We are working to design and build tiny houses from food-grade, freezer, 40-foot containers. They are very well insulated. It's a great medium to build a low-cost housing.
Do you have pictures of it?
I don't have pictures
Oh.
of the tiny house. No, I'm sorry, I didn't bring pictures that you want to see. But
How tiny is the house?
it's 360 square feet.
Okay.
It has a small bedroom, it has a bathroom, it has a kitchenette, and then a living space. We have a prototype that one of our benefactors started a build-out on. He had the plans to do the build. He didn't exactly follow the plans, so the prototype didn't turn out the way we needed it to.
That's why these guys come in.
So that's where they come in.
Now, who's the fellow who hires these guys? He's not here?
Philip Meskin is one of the other directors. I'm one of 3 directors. We are all retired veterans. Philip has...
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
So Philip hires you guys.
And we are also veterans.
Okay, and thank you for your service.
You're welcome.
Okay. Are you a licensed contractor?
No, I'm not.
Are you a licensed contractor?
No.
Okay. Were you guys under the impression that they were licensed contractors?
Yes, Your Honor.
Where'd you get that impression from?
We have been having trouble finding a licensed general contractor. So Howard told us he was going to get his general contractor's license.
When did he tell you that? Do you remember what month?
October, November.
Of the prior year.
Of the prior year. And then he first started the process in December. Our understanding was in March, he took and passed the test.
Where did you get the impression that he passed the test?
From Howard.
He told you I passed the test?
Yes.
Or I took the test?
No, I passed the test.
Did you pass the test?
Yes, I did.
Oh, do you have a license?
Not yet.
What are you waiting for? I don't understand. We have
The process in Florida is very, very extensive.
Okay, so
There's-
you've applied or you haven't?
I'm in the process of waiting.
You've done your part or
I've
you
done
haven't?
my part. I'm waiting for the state to reply.
Okay. So what happens is you guys work, and what do you do that first week?
The first week, we tore out the sliding glass door and the framing associated with it, undid some of the electrical system that was in the way of building the parapet walls, and constructed the 3 parapet walls over the existing bathroom and installed a lot of the electric that was required.
Okay, Mr. Foman, are you under the impression that that kind of work can be done by an unlicensed handyman? Because you're going to have some problems getting your license when you're standing here on national television saying that this is what we did and everything's fine and this contract is enforceable.
So this is kind of interesting. So the plaintiffs do all the work, and then, according to the defendant finds out that they weren't licensed contractors, and they said they were. Do you have to pay? Does the defendant have to pay the plaintiffs?
No.
Why?
He's a liar. He's not licensed. I don't think that's...
The plaintiffs. Well, okay, but wait a minute. But the plaintiffs did do work, so they don't get paid for the work just because they're not licensed?
I have to agree, yes. They shouldn't have lied about being licensed.
Okay, and what do you say?
I mean, I would still pay them. They're not licensed, but they did do work for you.
Okay, fair enough. And by the way, what a cute kid. Really cute kid. How old?
He's 9 months.
I wasn't that big when I was 13. Okay, going inside the courtroom.
There was no contract. There was an agreement
Now, there's a
to hire
verbal
us
contract. That's
for
the
labor.
one that's in court. A verbal
Okay.
contract between you guys is what's in court. Right.
The agreement was to hire us for labor because
You
this
can
is
call
a
it what
tiny
you
house.
want, but I can call it healer, but I can't practice medicine because it's a regulated industry, and you know that. And I kudos to you that you're having a second career, but you know, I'm kind of surprised that you would not only sue that organization when you're all veterans, but that you couldn't try to work something out. What happens is you work the first week and then you want to get paid right then rather than when the job is over. There's no written contract. They're surprised that you want to get paid in the middle of the job rather than when it's over.
He wanted his money now. If I would have paid him the $1,000 by PayPal, if it's over $350, PayPal will hold it for up to 4 to 5 business days.
Unless you pay $20?
Unless you pay the fee.
What's the fee?
I do not know the
It's
amount.
$20, isn't it?
I believe so, but
Yeah, right. So you couldn't like split the $10 each instead of ending up with a court. Can you please explain to me what happens when you hear that PayPal's going to take a little longer to get you your $1,000 that you demanded in the middle of the job?
She told me on Sunday that it would take approximately 15 more days.
So what do you do?
It became unacceptable. I asked Mr. Meskin to please pay us the $1,525
But how did it
he
go
owed
from
him.
1,000 to 1,525?
It was never 1,000. It was never 1,000. That was Mr. Meskin's offer of what he would put in my PayPal account on that Friday.
Okay. But it was for labor doing stuff that you need a licensed contractor for in Pinellas County.
Your Honor, this was work being done on the inside of a container house
It doesn't
that was
matter.
already
It doesn't
wired.
make a difference. There's electrical and there's people safety involved. That's why electrical is regulated. And it's not just that. Your county has like stricter, I think your county's stricter than the South Florida Building Code.
And there is no code on the interior of tiny houses on
Excuse
container
me, I don't
boxes.
know what the heck you're saying. But the word tiny houses is not mentioned because the word medium-sized houses isn't mentioned and the word large houses isn't mentioned because the only thing it covers is residential. People are going to live there. It has to be regulated. And now what? Where's the tiny house? How's it doing? Somebody else finish it?
No, ma'am.
And this all, you're, forget it, if you don't pay me, I'm not working, happen when?
That would be May 11th, 12th, May 13th,
May 13th.
when Mr. Meskin said, you'll either take the $1,000 and be happy or we won't pay you. I'm not sure what position I was left in.
No, I get it, but are you sure what position you're putting me in? You want me to enforce a contract that the state of Florida and your county says I can't. What I'd like to do is pay you for the work you have done and explore what you have done and order them to pay you for the work you have. That's what I want to do. But you know that I can't because unlicensed contractor work is to be punished by not getting paid. That's the deal here. I can't enforce the contract because that's a position you've put me in. And the worst part is you're waiting for the state to tell you. I'm like, I can't believe that we're in this. Instead of what? Waiting a few more days to get paid? It just seems like you cut your nose off to spite your face by being here. Part of what you're suing for is time spent shopping?
We were both asked to join Miss McGinley on Friday to go shopping for materials for the job site.
How many hours did you spend doing that?
Totally, we spent 3.5 hours, but we were already given $40 towards that.
Well, you get that because that doesn't require a license. And you get your court costs because you won a verdict. But I'm very sorry, but my hands are absolutely tied. Do you understand? I know you're not happy.
Well, it's not a matter of not happy, Your Honor. To take apart somebody else's work that is unviable does not require a licensed contractor.
I have no idea what you're saying.
Okay,
No, I hear you,
Yeah.
but you're not right. Your county literally requires anyone who constructs, repairs, alters, remodels, demolishes, subtracts, or improve from any building or structure. I cannot think of anything that is more widespread than that. It's ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous. But my hands are tied, just like yours. My verdict in this case is $30 for the plaintiffs, plus their court costs.
Well, things didn't turn out for the plaintiffs the way they hoped they would. Both gentlemen are on their way out of the court. You get $30 for going shopping. Okay, I know you're not happy about that. The judge really laid it out for you. Did you know the situation when you came to court?
Well, I didn't know the situation when I came to court. I knew what the law was. My understanding was that there's nothing that the county does about these tiny homes that are inside of containers.
Well, you heard it.
Now I heard it.
Sorry, fellas. You tried.
That's okay.
But the judge thought you were a little too fast, too. Maybe you don't agree with that. But did you file the court case so fast?
When I get told that we're not going to get paid for labor.
Okay, you're not going to wait. All right. You must sign a few documents on your way out of court. Thank you very much. All right, Ms. McKinley, you learned something, too, from the judge, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
It's been a learning experience for everybody here.
Yes, sir. Hindsight is always 20/20, and sometimes you just trust people too much.
Well, let me ask you this interesting question. Do you think they will ever get paid for what they did? Or do you think, no, maybe you don't have to?
I have a board of directors that I answer to, and that's between us and them is
To be determined.
to be determined.
Very interesting case. Thank you very much. Good luck with the house. Are they livable, those little houses?
Not yet. We're working.
I mean, do you
with
think
it.
when they're done, they're going to be
Oh,
livable?
absolutely. They are wonderful.
Really?
They're absolutely amazing. Yes.
Sorry you didn't bring pictures.
I'm sorry, too.
Okay.
Thank you.
You must sign some documents. Sounds very interesting, doesn't it, Harvey? What do you think?
Okay, hey Doug, there's a really good reason to hire a licensed contractor because number one, you can check to see their record to see if they had any problems, and number two, they're bonded, which means that you can go after the bond if something happens on the job. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.